August gathering, and today's program is really very special, and today's resource person is an outstanding person, and warm welcome to this program. And we will commence the program with the comparing team from the research department. Warm welcome from my side. I am Dr. Joji John from Mar Theophilos Training College, Trivandrum. Please. Now the research department, handing over to you. Hello, kindly start the comparing, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible. Kindly start.
Thank you, sir. A very warm good morning to one and all. Respected Principal Dr. K.Y. Bandik, sir. Distinguished guest for today's invited talk, Dr. Sujata P. Shanbhag, ma'am. Research Coordinator, Dr. Jojo Johnson. Honorable dignitaries, teachers, mentors, and dear participants. I, Wincy Biju, research scholar, on behalf of Mar Theophilos Training College, welcome you all for the webinar Insight in Depth. Today, we are proudly presenting our 10th session of Insight in Depth, and we are truly honored for your presence. Mar Theophilos Training College is one of the premier teaching training institutes in Kerala and is moving forward with enhanced vigor and vitality, holding high its mission and vision. Mar Theophilos Training College has always been a source of inspiration and has organized many webinars and meetings at state and national level during this pandemic and crucial situation. Insight in Depth is one of the initiative programs of Mar Theophilos Training College. The very invitation to prayer implies that there are blessings awaiting for us at the mercy seat. For that, let us begin our today's program seeking the blessings by invoking the Almighty with a prayer.
എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ പോരിരുൾ മാറ്റി നിർവഴി കാട്ടി നിത്യ ചൈതന്യമേ നീ നിറയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ സ്നേഹസ്വരൂപനേ കരുണാമയനേ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ മനസ്സിനുണർവേകി നിത്യവും നാഥാ മക്കളാം ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ മനസ്സിനുണർവേകി നിത്യവും നാഥാ മക്കളാം ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ അറിവിൻ നാദവും നാളവുമായി അജ്ഞരാം ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ സ്നേഹസ്വരൂപനേ കരുണാമയനേ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ.
Thank you, Sanika ma'am, for the beautiful prayer. Now, I invite our beloved Principal, Dr. K.Y. Bandik, sir, for the welcome speech. Sir.
Respected Dr. Sujata P. Shanbag, Honorable Chief Advisor to National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore, and the resource person of the day, distinguished members online, and dear students. Today is a blessed day for Mar Theophilus Training College family because we got an eminent person in the field of assessment and accreditation movement in India. We have really blessed with the presence of Dr. Sujata P. Shanbag, the Senior Advisor to National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Dr. Sujata P. Shanbag is well known all around the assessment and accreditation parivar across the country. When we go through the profile of Madam, I really wondered that she has coordinated more than 1,000 national assessment and accreditation trip to different institutions across the country. That's a great experience and achievement in the career path of a professional. And that's why I told that today is a blessed day for all of us, particularly to the research faculty, research wing, and the IQAC of Mar Theophilus Training College. As we know that Mar Theophilus Training College is marching forward to its 65th year of existence. The motto of the college is Dominus Mea Illuminatio. God is my light. And every day, by His grace, we are being illuminated, enlightened by the wisdom from the above and through the collective concerted action of all the stakeholders, the teachers, the administrative staff members, the parents, the general public, the college management, and our patron, His Beatitude more and more Basilius Cardinal Clemis, the head of the Malangara, Syro Malangara Catholic Church. All we are being blessed every day by many occasions. And we are fortunate enough to have Dr. Sujata P. Shanbag today in our midst with a very relevant topic of presentation, assessment and accreditation, the key to success and excellence in higher education. And on behalf of all those who have assembled, I welcome Dr. Sujata Shanbag, Madam, to the Insight in-depth program of the college. Let us give her a thumbs up by raising your expressions through the chat box. Welcome, Madam. I welcome all the dignitaries, including the professors from different universities, head of the departments of education, and the different principals of Kerala, and NAAC accreditation coordinators from different colleges of Kerala, research scholars, academicians, well-wishers, research students, teacher education, student teachers from different colleges, and our own students. I welcome each and everyone to this 1 hour program, and I extend a warm welcome to each and everyone. I wish today's interaction will be a great asset in your academic career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You are true inspiration for all of us. You've always fostered a sense of support and appreciation that allowed us to improve our daily practices, especially during this challenging time. Your active participation and constant encouragement lead us to accept the challenges and prepare ourselves for the future. Once again, thank you, sir. The purpose of today's gathering is to enlighten our knowledge. Benjamin Franklin rightly said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Today, we have an eminent personality with us to share her words of wisdom with us. Now, I invite Swami Gurunand Janakabasri to introduce the guest of honor for today. Swamiji, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, Swamiji.
very much.
Let me share my screen.
Kindly pin Swami Gurunand, please. Kindly pin Swami Gurunand so that you can see the visuals and PPT.
Is it visible now, sir? Hello? Is it visible now?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, one and all. Today we are in a brand new version of Insight in Depth, the invited talk series coordinated from Mark Theophilus Training College under the auspice of the research wing. Today's session is regarding the assessment and accreditation, the key to excellence. That is today's topic. And we are very much blessed to have our chief guest, Dr. Sujata P. Schanbach. And as our beloved principal has told, she's the chief advisor of National Assessment and Accreditation Council. A few words about ma'am. She is actually an alumna from Research Institute of Education, Mysore. And she had her specialization in education technology and special education. She had her PhD from Karnataka University, and the topic was related to the development of socially disadvantaged children. That itself shows her sincerity and commitment towards the society. She started from a very humble beginning as a primary school teacher. And it is very interesting to see that opportunities doesn't come to our front door and knock, even though you are having your qualifications and excellence. Definitely, it will be the enthusiasm and the perseverance we are taking that leads to higher and higher goals in our life. So definitely, it will be the enthusiasm and perseverance shown by our chief guest, made her the junior project fellow of NCRT and later become the economic officer of Education Division of Planning Commission, Government of India. Later, she became a member of the Project Evaluation Committee of Planning Commission at Bangalore. She has 20 years of experience in research, education planning, and quality assurance. She had coordinated more than 1,000 assessments and accreditation visits. I think some disturbance is coming. Am I audible now?
Sorry, Swami. It's okay now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. She has coordinated more than 1,000 assessments and accreditation visits across the country. That itself shows the valor she is presenting in her field. She has worked immensely in the development of manuals, state-wise analysis, and preparing the guidelines for NAC. She has organized several awareness programs, training programs, post-accreditation programs, capacity building programs, and assessor interaction meetings. She has been nominated under Faculty Exchange Program, and she has undergone training in assessment and accreditation in Australia and Malaysia. She has also co-authored and authored papers presented in various national and international conferences. Ma'am, we are highly thankful to you for your valuable time that you are going to spend with us. We are highly grateful from the very depths of our heart. We are moving on to the Insight in-Depth program, the invited talk series of MDTC Research Wing. Welcoming ma'am and all others once more to this prestigious program of Mark Theophilus Training College. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji. Before we get started, few announcements and humble request to all the participants. Kindly mute your microphones. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. We'll bring them up during the discussion at the end. E-certificate for participation will be issued, so kindly mark your attendance and share your thoughts and experience through Google Form. Now, I request Dr. Sujata P. Schanbach ma'am to share her views with us. Ma'am, please. Sujata ma'am? Ma'am?
Sorry, Sujata ma'am, your mic is muted, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. While sharing, I couldn't see it actually.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Can
Hello,
you
ma'am.
see the presentation?
Yes, ma'am. And
Yes.
all the participants kindly pin the presentation of Sujata, ma'am, please. Ma'am, it's visible, ma'am. It's very much visible. Please, you may
Okay.
start now.
Maybe
You may
I'm
start.
not. Okay, I'm not able to see. So was.
We are able to see it.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Benedict, Principal, and other colleagues of Marthias Phyllis Training College, a revered teaching fraternity who are attending this webinar. My dear friends, namaskar to each one of you present here. I'll try to explain you today how NAAC's assessment and accreditation process will help the institutions to improve quality and important things to remember during the assessment and accreditation process. NAAC believes that quality is primarily the responsibility of the higher education institutions, and institutions which understands itself will be able to excel. Understanding the importance of self-evaluation, NAAC has adopted A&A process with self-evaluation followed by external evaluation. In line with international practice, NAAC has developed assessment and accreditation process suiting the Indian context. Assessment and accreditation process of NAAC is ameliorative and enabling rather than punitive and judgmental. Through assessment and accreditation process, NAAC is trying to empower institutions to build quality culture. The vision of NAAC is to make quality the defining element of higher education in India through a combination of self and external quality evaluation, promotion, and sustenance initiatives. As mentioned in this vision statement of NAAC, self-evaluation is an integral part of NAAC's assessment and accreditation process. Higher education institutions, while evaluating themselves, will understand their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. Once you know about your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges, you can plan how to strengthen the strength and to overcome the weakness. You can also plan to fully use the opportunities and face the challenges. HEIs may utilize optimally the resources available with them and can plan to mobilize the resources further. In this self-evaluation processes, HEI will be able to identify their best practices and internalize them. The best practices institutionalized will go a long way in strengthening the quality enhancement activities of higher education institutions. Best practices are those practices which enhances the quality of the institution, add value to the institution and its various stakeholders. Best practices are institutional specific and depends on the context of the institution. It differs from institutions to institution. It is observed that institutionalization of best practices have resulted in commendable improvement in the quality of higher education institutions. Self-evaluation will help the institutions to have its own benchmarking and plan to achieve them and raise the benchmarks. The self-study preparation, collection of data and documents are essential to a teamwork. In this process, all teachers, staff, management, and other stakeholders will work together, and which builds a sense of belongingness and collegiality in campus. HEIs will get maximum benefits only if the it is done by the HAIs involving all stakeholders and not through the consultation. I would like to repeat, it should be done by the self, the teachers of the institution, and it should not be outsourced. Then only you can reap the benefit of A&A process. Though the external accreditation agencies inform where the institution stands in quality, but long-lasting improvements in quality cannot come about only by external evaluation. Hence, NAAC has advocated the establishment of IQAC in all the accredited institutions. Having internal quality assurance system is important in even the non-accredited colleges to build quality culture in the institution. NAAC has introduced one of the metric on internal quality assurance system in its assessment and accreditation process. NAAC has been instilling a momentum of quality consciousness amongst higher education institutions, aiming for continuous improvement through internal quality assurance cell or the system which is inbuilt in the institution. Accredited institutions may use their quality label for brand building. It also provides reliable information on quality of education provisions offered by the institution to the stakeholders, especially to the students, parents to choose the institutions, and to the employers to select the best candidate. Realizing the importance of IQAC, UGC is funding IQACs of accredited higher education institutions to sustain quality culture. UGC, RUSA, DST, DBT, NCT, all are using the NAAC accreditation status for further funding or even the renewal of their approval. Under the scheme of UGC, colleges with potential for excellence and universities with excellence and open distance learning are dependent on accreditation or grading of the NAAC or other quality assurance agency. Accreditation is designed for autonomy and graded autonomy, or if any institution wants to become the deemed university. Despite several policy initiatives encouraging self-learning, we have been very slow in implementing them. For example, introduction of choice-based credit system, MOOCs, etc., which means we were mastering ambiguity, doing the same old things, but expecting our students to be ready to work in a digital economy. COVID-19 situations and the resulting lockdown has been a blessing in disguise as we all transformed ourselves, enabling online teaching learning, which was stalled, stating imaginary hurdles. Thus, fast-track approach towards digital learning is now going to be a common institutional practice. Similar practices are also the need of the hour, so as to equip our students with social values, emotional intelligence, and digital literacy to successfully compete in the world of work. As teachers, we are expected to be the role models, inspiring our students both in academic and social contributions. As of today, the change is not impactful as the initiatives happen once in a while. If you see what NAAC expects or what NAAC defines as the educational quality is nothing but the quality of the students' experiences provided in the institution campus through relevant and outcome-based curriculum transacted through the latest and appropriate pedagogical practices. If you look at the current situation, to be successful, the teachers and learners should be conversant with the technology-mediated teaching and learning processes. That is, techno-pedagogical skills of the teacher and the digital literacy of the learner decides the efficiency and effectiveness of the educational transactions. All these good practices, along with the curricular design, will empower the students with the required life skills, employable skills, and empathy towards the society. All these issues are aptly embedded into the NAAC's value framework defined through 5 core values. The accreditation tool of NAAC, which is considered as quality facilitating instrument, articulates and aligns these 5 core values within the 7 criteria, its key indicators and metrics. These 5 core values will be guiding points as you move for achieving quality at individual level, at departmental level, and finally culminating at the institutional level. These 5 core values will help you in your goals and flag areas of improvements. Let us deliberate on each of these core values and how they have been built into our accreditation process. If you look at our criteria, first, third, and seventh, you will be able to realize your contributions as a teacher and an institution towards this core area, that is contributing to the national development. Issues relating to these are reflected in the very first metric on the development of the curriculum based on the national needs and integration on various socio-economic issues and also issues related to skills entrepreneurship, courses related to employability, curriculum enrichment, and similarly development of research aptitude. All the extension and outreach activities, environmental consciousness will transform your students to be a good citizens, contributing to society and sensitive to the socio-economic challenges. This will empower students who will be able to build a bright future not only for themselves but society at large. Fostering global competencies among students. Your curriculum in terms of revision and relevance will develop the required competency to compete in the global job market. Regarding promoting the use of technology, I need not give you any example. The pandemic has forced us to move towards digital transaction of education and students to be working towards the digital economy. So I need not explain benefits of technology further. By practicing all the above values, the institution automatically transfers into excellence in all of its activities. However, only IQAC or a couple of teachers working on the aspects and achieving the goals will not lead us anywhere. It is important that all of us work in a team, sharing the success stories and challenges. It is like the response to the pandemic situation where we maintain a distance and share our challenges and success and work collectively to stop the spread of the virus. If we were limiting to individual levels and not collectively working for the containment of the pandemic, it would have been a disaster. In a similar way, if we have to achieve quality in an institution, it can be done only as a team. Though you have individual definitions of quality and target sets, the benefits can only be reaped when we can institutionalize the good practices. Quality assurance will result in capacity building of teachers, staff, like developing techno-pedagogical skills for the current situation, sustaining motivation both for the teachers and students who are located at the classrooms and struggling to cope up with the teaching learning. Evolving innovative practices that all of you, I'm sure, have experienced and attempted while transforming your teaching learning process in the current situation. All these capacity building, sustaining motivation, evolving innovative practices will culminate into a success story only if you retrospect, undertake a critical self-appraisal. This means you will ensure quality with two important components. You remain accountable to your stakeholders, given whatever the situation be, and you work towards continuous improvement. This means at an individual and institutional level, you take entrepreneurship approach, and each one of you will be an entrepreneur leading the academic and administrative activities of the institution, despite several risks and challenges. Now, let us look at some of the key features of NAAC A&A process. Now, the NAAC A&A process from June 2017 onwards has become completely automated. From the submission of IIQA, SSR, DVV clarification to the results, it is automated. The system selection of peer team members, logistic, and the scores are also generated through the system. HEI has to register with NAAC to have its own portal, and online of submission of all applications will happen through their HEI portal. This methodology has benchmarks, and based on the benchmarks, the scores of the institutions are calculated, and quantitative evaluation leads to the pre-qualification. If the institution scores 25% on the quantitative matrix, they will pre-qualify for the peer team visit. It is a data-driven assessment and accreditation process. In this, we have introduced data validation and verification process, and it is done through an external agency whom we call DVV partner. For that, we request the institutions to upload the templates and supporting documents. And even the DVV clarifications which are raised by the DVV partner will be answered by the higher education institutions through the portal and within the timeline. For that, we have given 15 days of timelines. And one more important thing, what is introduced in this new methodology or the current methodology is the online student satisfaction survey. I'm not going to explain it as all these informations are on the website. Maybe at the end of after this session, you may pose a query if you have any doubt in this. I'm telling about the framework. And there is a aspect of confidentiality introduced in this methodology, that is, the NAAC will not disclose the peer team members' detail in advance. Only 3 days before the peer team visit, it will be intimated to the institutions through the automated email, and it is visible on the institutional portal. Hence, it is requested all the institutions, once they register, you have to look at the portal every day and the registered email ID. And here I would like to request all of you, if you have already done it is fine, otherwise kindly register the institutional email ID, because all the communications will be sent to this registered email ID only. If you give any persons, principals or IQAC coordinators email ID, and if they leave the institution, then you will face a problem. Assessment and accreditation framework has 7 criteria, which are the academic and administrative and management activities of the HEIs. And you are familiar with these criteria. These broader criteria are same. Under each criteria, there are key indicators. Those are specific functional aspects in the institutions. And they are subdivided into metrics, which are actual tasks or operations carried out in the institution. These metrics are divided into qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative are those metrics which are evaluated by the peer team members. And quantitative metrics are verified and validated by the DVV partner. Once you register and you have your portal, it is not necessary that you have to submit the IIQA immediately. To submit the IIQA for the first timer, there is no timeline. But for the subsequent accreditation, they have to submit the IIQA during the 6 months of the validity period of their accreditation to continue their accreditation till the new grade is declared. Once you submit the IIQA, it will be processed in the by the coordinators or the NAC officials, and if there is any clarification required, clarification will be sent to the institutions demanding either the document or the explanation, and institution should submit the clarification through the portal. Once it is satisfies all the required things, then the IIQA will be accepted or the IIQA will be rejected. If it is rejected, the institution can come twice within a year using the same fee. If it crosses 1 year, then it has to pay the fee and it has to come afresh. Once the IIQA is accepted, the institution has to submit the self-study report online through the portal within 45 days from the date of acceptance of the IIQA. On submission of the SSR, it will be automatically through round robin, or the system will start the student satisfaction survey, and it will automatically assign to a DVV partner, and it will be assigned to a NAC official. All the three will happen simultaneously on submission of the SSR. The DVV partner will look into the documents, data claimed by the institution for each metric, and depending on as per the SOP and depending on the supporting document, if all the things are correct and it is verified, they will not ask the clarification. Otherwise, they will raise the clarification, those metrics where they feel the documents are not sufficient or there is a discrepancy in the claims made, in the data template or in the supporting document. Then they will raise the query to the institution, and institution has to submit the clarification or give the documents within 15 days from the date of raising the clarification. And I have already told, if the institution scores 25%, then they will qualify for the peer team visit, and the peer team will take place within 3 months normally. Now, due to the COVID, it is getting delayed. Otherwise, normally it will happen within 3 months from the date of declaration of the pre-qualification stage. Once the peer team visit is over and we receive the report and the scoring from them online, all the three will be collected and calculated against the benchmark, and the grade and the CGPA will be calculated automatically by the system, and it will be declared officially in a standing committee, which normally meets once in a month. Let us look at what are the types of metrics in the self-study report. Before that, I would like to say it is very important that the institution should, or the persons who are involved in the self-study report preparation, have to have the understanding of the metrics, their intent of the metrics. Otherwise, we are finding so many times the institutions tells some number in the metric, but what they write in the data template or they give the supporting document, they do not match with each other. So kindly understand the metric and know the assessment period. Anyway, in the application, it shows the assessment period. You have to give all the data which has happened or the activities which have happened during the assessment period only. If it is beyond or before the assessment period, that will not be considered. Please go through the NAAC manual and guidelines which are available on the NAAC website. It is very important that you need to read the standard operating procedure along with the metrics. Try to understand the metric and what are the requirements for this metric for the DVV to validate and verify. Data and information submission, both quantitative and qualitative metrics are necessary. In the absence of that, you may lose some of the claims. Means the DVV partner may not accept your claims. You have to upload the relevant supporting documents. Data template, supporting document, and the links. Links comes when the data is more than 5 MB. In the application supports only 5 MB data to upload. If it is more than that, you upload it on your website, institutional website, and give the links in the SSR and as well as when the DVV partner requests for the clarification. See that when you give the link, it should land on the particular document, not on the institutional website or the home page. Wherever you have given the link should be particular. And there are tooltips which are question marks in the application. If you take the cursor on those question marks, it tells or it gives you the tips what to write and what is needed or the limitations of the application. This is the portal, how it looks like. And in the left side, there are some tabs. And if you click on those tabs, it will open the respective application. There are 5 kinds of quantitative metrics apart from qualitative metrics which are evaluated by the peer team members. Some of the quantitative metrics seeks year-wise data for the last 5 years, that is assessment period. And some quantitative metrics seeks block year for whole 5 years for the assessment period. Some are multiple choice. You can say, yes, we are doing this. We are not doing. There is a choice to inform you about your activities. And some seeks input data for the latest completed academic year. It asks for the data only for 1 year, but that is the latest completed academic year. And quantitative metrics, which some especially ratios, teacher-student ratio or computer-student ratio, are automatically calculates the response from the extended profile. It takes the value from the extended profile. There is a extended profile where you have to give the common information in the extended profile. I have already told about the data template. It is very important that you fill the data template and don't alter any columns or rows. Whatever has been asked in the data template, you have to give us. And see that the claims made in the application and the information given in the data template matches, and you are giving the relevant supporting document. If anyone is mismatching with the others, then it will not be considered. For example, documents such as minutes of the meeting, decisions, statement of account, award letter, letter of appointment, etc. In some metrics we ask, need to be uploaded as required. If it is bulk, I have already told you, you may give the hyperlinks. This is what is required for the data validation and verification. First one is the metric input in the SSR application. Other one, you will be uploading the data template. It is in the Excel format and it is available on NAAC website. You can look at it at that and you can keep it ready before the submission of the IIQA. Though it looks like you have 45 days to submit the SSR, sometimes it will become short if you don't prepare yourself well in advance. So kindly keep all the data and documents ready before the submission of the SSR. And the supporting documents which is relevant to that metric and which falls under the assessment period. All these three should be complement each other. This is the DVV portal where looks the DVV. This is the one which you have answered, and then the DVV partner might have changed here depending on the things. They will give the remarks. Everything happens online. Yes.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
Excuse me, madam. Could you please put on the slideshow? The slides and
it's not clear. Okay. Okay. I am not in this. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
now it is clear, na? Okay.
Yes.
ma'am.
See here, this is the HAI input. This is the multiple choice question. Here they have told we are doing 2 of the above. Then the DVV, because the institution has not given some documents, they told only we can see only 1 of the above. Then the HAI, they ask the clarification, they ask for some documents or some links or photographs or some other things which is as per the SOP or even beyond if they feel that is required to validate or to verify the data, to verify that metrics data. Then the college will be replying here and they have given the information at the supporting document. And then DVV, there are 3 types. There may be no answer change. It means whatever the institution has given, it has been accepted by the DVV partner. Here changed after clarification. With the clarification document, the DVV partner has changed the data given by the institutions. And sometimes they themselves recommend some suggestions based on the supporting documents data template provided by the institutions. This is very important. When you upload the documents or when you clarify the DVV partner, be precise to clarify. Give the exact thing. Don't give bulky things. And highlight the things where the DVV partner's attention is required in the documents. Suppose if you are uploading the minutes of the academic meeting, academic council meeting, where the academic council has agreed to introduce a new course, then that portion of the academic council meeting you need to highlight so that it will be easy for the DVV partner to look at the things. Otherwise, if the academic council meeting minutes is very bulky, then they may miss it. So be precise in giving the clarification and highlight the things wherever it is required. And the document should be supportive rather than confusing. Don't give too many informations. Give the correct, relevant information. Unnecessary, unwanted information you shouldn't give. For example, we may ask for the awards received by students and teachers for the extension activities. If you give some other awards also, then it will be confusing, and then the impression comes the institution is trying to confuse rather than clear things. Then you may sometimes lose the opportunity to clarify the things. So don't give the confusing documents. Let the documents be very clear, and if required, you may give some clarification note to the DBV partner. This is like this, this has happened like this, if the document is not clear. And every document should be authenticated by the authority. And we are nowadays we are seeing the signature of the authorities are inserted, scanned and inserted in the document, and we will not consider it for validation. So please scan the original document and upload them. If it is bulky, put it on the institutional website and give the link. And I have already told it is only 5 MB upload space for each clarification. You have to manage the time. Once your IIQA is accepted, your time starts clicking. Normally, for as I have told, for submission of the SSR, it is 45 days. For DVV, it is 15 days. And if there is natural calamity or political disturbance or alike, we may extend the time for submission of the SSR as well as for the clarification for the DVV, provided you request us, giving the appropriate reason. And it should come through the issue. There is a issue management tab in the portal, and through that you can raise the issue, or you can ask some queries. If you have any doubt, you can communicate to NAAC through issue management system. That is the tab which says support/help. And that's what how you can contact NAAC. And if institution fails to give the response for the DVV, on the 15th day, at the last moment, the system automatically submits the response. Whatever you have uploaded till that time, it will submit to NAAC, and you will not have the time for uploading the further document. So please stick to the timelines. If you need in certain circumstances, write to NAAC well in advance, and NAAC will, if the reasons are natural calamity or it is a genuine reason, then we will accept your request. Otherwise, it will not be given. This is the place where where you can click and you will get this, and you can write the description, what is your problem or what is the issue. And there is a provision to upload also. You can upload the screenshot if it is a technical problem, or you can upload certain documents if you want to support your things along with the document. And you can select the priority, and you can categorize your issue or the problem, and you can submit it to NAAC. And within 24 hours, normally we reply to this. And who have not registered with NAAC, you have help desk, dedicated help desk, and you can call them on these numbers, or you can send an email to them. All these things are available on NAAC website. This is very important, building an attitude. If we want to do, if it comes from within, then the things, whatever we take up, will be successful. But if we do certain things because the principal told or the management said that I have to do this, I'm doing, it will not happen. Or even if it happens, it will not be a quality work. There is a saying that if an egg is broken by an outside force, a life ends. But if an egg breaks from within, life begins. Always great things begin from within. So the NAC advocates self-evaluation and say it should be a teamwork, and it should motivate the teachers to do on their own. And closing, I would like to reiterate some of the important things, that all the activities of assessment and accreditation, that is IIQA, SSR, clarification for IIQA, DVV, fee payment, including queries or issues, have to be submitted online only through the HEI portal. The HEI portal will be made available to the institution on registration with NAC for assessment and accreditation. Once you register, if you have a HEI portal, you can submit even the AQARs. And you can register at any time. It is not restricted only to submit the IIQA, you have to register. And once you register, that is for lifelong of the institution. The portal will be available all the times. Only thing, you have to keep your password and login ID properly. Here, one more thing I would like to say is AISHE ID is mandatory while registering with NAC. Please read the manual completely, including the glossary and the SOPs. This will help in clear understanding of the metric. Keep the data, details, and documents required for online format of SSR before the submission of IIQA. Read the instruction about where to upload the documents and data, in what format data have to be presented for the various metrics, and required verbal explanations for the qualitative metrics. Wherever verbal descriptions are required for qualitative metrics, write briefly as indicated, as there is a word limit, that is only 500 words you can write. Contemplate well and prepare the write-ups explicating the highlights of the sought details about the institution without wasting space or words on frill details. Ensure authentic and correct data are provided throughout. Incorrect data or false details could lead to disqualification or penalty. Here I would like to say the observation is some of the institutions are saying we would like to come for only 3 programs. They will include only 3 programs, though they are offering 5 or 6 programs. This will not be accepted by NAC, because NAC is doing the institutional accreditation, and institution should provide the details of all the programs offered in the institution. Kindly adhere to the time specification given by NAC. As I have already told, it may be observed that at various places there is a question mark given. These are tooltips which provide clarity as to what is expected in response. When the cursor is placed on the question mark, it pops up the tip. It will indicate the meaning, kind of data, documents to be uploaded, and also the data limit. Provide the data pertinent to the metrics. The documents to be uploaded for various metrics have to be within 5 MB. If the size of the document exceeds that limit, institution may upload the same on their website and the link of the said document be given. Wherever the document for a particular metric contains many other information, make sure the relevant data or the information is highlighted in the document. Hope you have understood the current assessment and accreditation process. Further, if you have any doubt, you may raise the issues through IMS. If you are registered college, otherwise you may send the query to the NAC help desk. The email ID is available on NAC website. All of our officers' email ID are available there. All the instructions all the applications are available on NAC website. You can see the notifications on NAC homepage. And one more thing, there is a seminar grant which is given to the accredited institutions. You may avail that also. I would like to conclude saying quality is an investment and not an expense. Together, we will invest on quality of higher education. Let us march towards the quality as a team. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words and the information provided. It was so gratifying to hear from you. The points augmented related to NAC presented assessment and accreditation really gained valuable insight. Truly said, assessment and accreditation is the key to excellence. It will definitely will help in bringing quality, culture, brilliance in institutions and assist them in continuous improvement. Ultimately, will help us to improve our educational system and attain national educational objectives. Once again, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. If there is any particular query, you can.
Ma'am, you excuse me, ma'am. You have mentioned something regarding the link should be particular. You have used a phrase. So could you please elaborate that concept for clarity of participants?
Yeah. Like you are putting the minutes of some meetings or the report of some activity in some place in your website, maybe in under some tabs. Sometimes we have seen they give the link to the home page, but you should give the link where it lands on the same page of the activity report or the academic council meeting report. It should open the report only. It should not be on some other tab.
Okay, that means the title must be clear in the website itself, so that the technical person could be very easily operate and assess it.
Yeah, if the DVV partner clicks on the link, it should open the document.
Okay, okay.
They need not search. Otherwise, they will say they are not. It is not available, and they will reduce the value.
Currently, there are many other different user-friendly apps are available, like that, or the flipbook generation, like that. If you want to paste 3 or 4 photos, instead of that 3 or 4 photos, we can create a flipbook of 10 or 15 photos which are very relevant. But we cannot directly upload to the portal directly because of the constraints in space. So whether this also could be made as part of the link available in the website.
Yeah, so anything you can put it on the website, but the Google Drive things are not accepted. On third-party website, if you give anything, that is not accepted. Everything should be on the institutional website.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think that there are a number of NAC coordinators from different colleges and principals are participating in this session. For clarification, it is your time to spend a few minutes to raise your queries so that it will be useful for all the participants, including the student teachers, because in their curriculum, we have elements of modules of assessment and accreditation process of higher education institutions.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, madam.
Yeah.
Dr. Nagaraj speaking.
Good
madam.
afternoon.
Madam,
Yeah.
for second cycle, we have not yet submitted the IQR.
Okay.
How to submit the reports now?
Now it is open for you. Once you register with NAC, you will have your own portal. Through that, you can submit. Even if you have backlog of 4 or 5 years, you can submit it now. Once you start, you have to submit it within 3 months.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful session. I would like to pose one question. Ma'am, is geo-tagging compulsory for all the images? Because that's a new piece of information for us, that we have to geo-tag everything. But some of the snaps have been taken before this instruction, ma'am?
Yeah. If it is compulsory, if you are giving the number of classrooms, because you have to take it present, and even the number of classrooms with ICT enabled facilities. But the activity which has happened already, and those photos, you have not taken it in the geotagged format, it is okay, but you have to give the caption. This is an awareness program held on such and such date. That caption should be there on the
Clear.
photo.
Clear, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah.
Can I have a question?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Ma'am, I am IPSC coordinator from St. Peter's College, Kolancheri, Ernakulam. So I have a specific question. We are in the fourth cycle of our accreditation, and
Yeah.
actually our accreditation will end in March 2021. Okay, so that is
Okay.
it is in regular course. It is time to file our IIQA. Okay. But due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we want to know whether there is any extension for submitting this IIQA.
Yeah, we have already given the extension. The notification is available on the NAC website. It says you have to submit the IIQA within 3 months from the reopening of the institution as per the university order. Suppose
Okay.
your university says you have to open now in December, you have to submit the IIQA if already over, but you have till March. You can
Yeah.
either submit it by March end, before the expiry of the validity period, or if the institution opens in March, then you have 3 months from the date of opening of the institution. Whichever is later, you can use.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And whoever has completed their validity period from the 1st March 2020, they will get automatic extension of the validity period till 3 months from the opening of the institutions. They have to submit the IIQA within 3 months from the date of opening of the institution, so that they can retain their validity period. It is
Okay, ma'am.
applicable
So when we are
only whose
submitting this
validity.
IIQA on that date, then we have to consider the 5 academic year just beyond that IIQA date.
See, yeah, 5 academic years, how it is calculated is, if you submit, it is dependent on the date of submission of IIQA. The logic is given like that in the application. If you submit on June 1st or later of this, suppose 20, I am taking 2020, then it calculates the year, 5 years from the 1920 and backward. That is 19, 20, 18, 19, 17, 18, 16, 17 and 15, 16. And it is till May 31st of 2021, the same assessment period will be there. It will change every 1st June to take the last completed academic year. The assumption is 1st June onwards, the new academic session starts and the previous academic session will be closed.
Madam, for this academic year, the last academic year, NAC has given a permission to
Thank you,
decide
ma'am.
for the
It is
institution.
clear now.
Institution to decide the closing date as per the examinations or no?
No. See, application has the logic, and I don't think we will change it. Only thing we may allow by chance, if your academic year 1920 is not over, we may give you the extension of time to submit the SSR.
Okay, there is
But
one.
as per the application, it is only, or
Okay. Thank
there
you.
is a decision has to be taken. It is
That's
not yet
clear.
taken.
That's clear, madam. Thank you. Then one apprehension that has been raised during the process of writing the report from our practice in the qualitative metrics. the 500 words limits are provided. So in order to reduce the number of words, but we have to include more condensed matter, very significant element. Is there any permission to use a tabular form in which we can give condensed matter in a column format and keep that column format not in the visible format? We shall be permitted to copy and paste?
Yeah, if you can limit it within 500 words, fine.
That's okay, ma'am. Whether it should be a running matter or a tabular form in which a table will be kept, table borders will be kept silent, or it will be diminished by that arrangement, whether it will be provided permission.
Yeah, that can be done, but I think table takes more space than the running matter. But the provision is there. I have seen some of the SSR, they have put the bar graph, they have put some other graphs and other tables.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, if it is a graphical representation, we may be able to compress, condense very essential point by point. Otherwise, okay.
One more thing you can do is, for this also, in the running matter or wherever, you can tell the details is given on the website on such and such place, so that the PA team members will look at that.
Oh, okay. The material that we could not be able to place in the 500 words would be converted in an image form and get it attached with the website.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Namaste, madam. I am Preeti Bhandarkar, principal, Kumta B.Ed College, madam.
Yeah.
Teacher Education College. Namaste, madam.
Namaste.
Madam, our due date reaccreditation held in 2013. After that, some technical problem, we couldn't apply for NAC. You know this. Now we are applying for that. But after 13 means which years, 5 years report we can submit? I don't know about that, madam.
AQAR, normally we say it should be the last 5 years.
Yeah. Means our due date is 2013, no, madam. That's why I asked.
Your due date was 2018. 13 it was accredited. 2018. Now, only thing, you can come at any time, but you cannot enjoy the accreditation status after the expiry of the validity.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now we will submit after that 2013 reports, or
you can submit the report of 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 and 18, 19, 19, 20.
Okay.
Latest.
15, 16
yeah.
To 5 years report. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on the website and you have to give the link in the IIQA.
Yeah. We will give, madam. Only 1 year AQAR report remaining, madam. We are preparing now.
Okay.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Madam, I have one more question regarding this certificate course, this value-added course, etc. So our college is actually an affiliated college, affiliated to Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. And I just want to know whether without the permission of university, we can start some certificate course or this value-added course or something, or diploma course, something like that. And I just want to know, one more question I want to hear is that I just want to differentiate between this certificate course and value-added course. Some definition is there, but can you elaborate on the difference between the certificate course and a value-added course?
The certificate value-added courses can also be a certificate course. Okay. The value-added course may not be a certificate course, but for the record purpose, we are asking nowadays, you give the certificate, a few sample certificates of the students whom you have imparted this value-added courses. But diploma definitely has a different timeline. The certificate course also, as if you are going as per the university, it should be minimum 6 months, I think. Maybe you can correct me. But value-added courses, what we have told, even if it is 30 hours, we are considering it. But nowadays, institutions, because we are asking 30 hours, some of the documents we see, it is created for NAAC. But I would like to request you, if you are doing, kindly give those things and tell the hours of this value-added program, because we think if it is only 1 hour, 2 hour seminar, sometimes they used to give in even 1 hour seminar also value-added courses. Of course, that adds the value to the students or the teachers. But for the purpose of this metric, we have restricted it for 30 hours. For this, you have to give the report of this value-added program, the attendance sheet, the course content of this. You can look at the SOP. It is given in the SOP. You have to give the documents as per the SOP.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, actually, hello.
Hello, yeah.
Madam, we had some certificates with the collaboration of some companies from Bangalore, and we have maintained the hours around 30 to 35 hours. Is it validated for issuing the certificate with the collaboration of other private companies and all these things?
Yeah, with private companies, it is considered, provided you don't pay. See, sometimes we see it's a commercial thing. Like this, you collect the amount from the students for that course. It looks like no. I'm telling such things are not considered by the DVV partner.
No, for example, Dream and Dream from Bangalore is giving a value-added education from life skills and all these things. We join with them.
Okay.
Okay, madam.
It is okay, but provided you should give the correspondence with them for having these things, and the notification you have given to the students that this value-added program will be conducted on such and such date, or even if the teachers conduct, it is okay. Like communication skills after the college hours, maybe the English department may take some classes.
We just made a prospectus for that, madam, for our only for our student purpose only.
See, what happens sometimes, we have observed some of the colleges are giving the prospectus or something which looks very fresh. You can find it out when you look at the documents. You say you have conducted it 5 years before, but the things will be same. Means.
Yeah, madam. Sometimes we are inviting them every year by a particular dates and all these things to complete the 30 hours or 35 hours. That we continue every year, madam, because once we have
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You can say every year you are conducting this, and you have to give the student attendance sheet and the certificate. And we have seen some of the institutions are giving blank certificate. That we will not consider.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Very excellent session that you have. Thank you,
Madam, could you please elaborate something on the student satisfaction survey, which may be a new part in the new regime of accreditation?
Yeah. Student satisfaction survey, it is done online. All of you know. For that, you have to give the name of the students, their email ID, in which year they are studying, in which program they are studying. Those are mandatory. And it is given the Excel sheet in which you have to give the students' details are available on the NAAC website. You can look at it and you can keep the list of students, and you can collect it from your students, the email IDs. Mobile number is not compulsory. If you have, you can give, or if you don't have, it is okay. It is not mandatory. It is but the thing is, for the calculation purpose, the number of students what you have given in the IIQA will be taken. If you have given 1,000 numbers of students in your institution in IIQA, then in the SSR you have to give at least 50%. But I would like to request you, give at least 70%. Even if there is some problem in the email ID, even some small dot or comma, it will not accept. It will reject. The application automatically rejects. So collect at least 70 to 80% of students' email IDs and upload those data. And single Excel sheet takes only 500 students' data. You can upload multiple Excel sheets, but give 500 students' data in a single Excel sheet. In the application, you can download that Excel sheet. You can fill it. If you have already in the Excel sheet, you can upload it, but ensure that it is in the same format. And once the SSR is submitted, the system takes randomly 30, it selects 30 students and it sends the email to them immediately. It may take 1 or 2 days sometimes because of the technical problems. Otherwise, normally it sends the emails to select 30% of the students. And they have to reply back within 7 days. And if we don't get 10% or 100 students information, for teacher education, it is 50%, sorry, 50 students also we are allowing, because if it is a single unit institution thinking that. But general institutions, it is 10% or 100 students reply should come to NAAC to consider this metric. If we receive this even more, then the average will be calculated and it will be scored automatically for that particular metric. You may inform your students that you are going for assessment and accreditation to NAAC and you are submitting on such and such day the SSRs, and they may get the emails and they have to look into the email and they have to reply back to NAAC. Once they click it, and the link will be sent to the students and they have to click on the link. And once they click, the format will be open and they have to fill the format and they have to submit. You can make them aware of all these things. And the questions which are asked is also available on the NAAC website. If it is a regional, if you want, you can tell them the meaning in the regional language if they have any problem with the English language. But it may not happen with the students. Nowadays, students are also smart.
If there is no further query from anyone, we will move to the rest of the proceedings of the session.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one question? It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much for the same. And regarding the certificate course, I heard people saying like it gets its value only when we collect fee from the students. Because once we give them it free, they are not serious about it, and such discussions I have heard. We are doing the same for the addition, means to help them out in adding some more skills. And I have heard people saying like when we are giving them it for free and they are not serious about it. What's your opinion about the same, ma'am?
Yeah, there is a thinking of that also, but what we are looking at is we have seen somewhere CAD training from a training institute. Here it looks like for us it is the interpretation of the DVV partner and how you present the things. Okay, DVV partner, if they see all are the tie-ups are with the commercial partners.
Okay, ma'am.
Then they may not consider it. If it is a training by an Infosys to an engineering students, yes, we consider it. Because we feel they are the giant in the information technology, and with the request of the institutions, they are coming. It is a social service. If it looks more like a commercial service, less social service, then it may not be considered. Even how much you charge also matters.
Yeah. That means that it is not necessary that we have to collect them free to make them serious about it.
No, not necessary. But it should be organized by the institution. If the students go on their own, the credit will not be given to the institution.
Okay. It should be organized by the
institution.
It will be okay if the one department also do the same, right?
Yeah, sure.
And one more thing added to that, what authority, ours is an affiliated college, and what authority a department have to give a sort of certification for our students? Do we have some authority? Ours is not an actually autonomous college, ours is affiliated college.
See, in this matter, I'm not very sure of the things. Diploma, of course, you have to take the permission from the university. But for value-added program, I don't think you need the things. But maybe you can clarify it with the university. Maybe certain universities have certain rules.
Okay, ma'am. And you already said like it is better that we extend the course up to 6 months or something like that rather than sticking on to 30 minutes.
See, it means you should give them the proper value addition. Like 1 day seminar or a 1 hour seminar, yes, it may motivate them, but it may not add up the value to their skill or the knowledge.
Yeah, seriously, you exactly already pointed out. Many a time what happens is many of the institutions are doing the same for the NAC points, exactly.
Yeah, but we say even if you start for NAC purpose, please continue it.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you. And one more thing, could you please distinguish between add-on course and certificate course? If you can have some say on the same, that will be helpful.
See, certificate course also can be add-on courses. Add-on courses are those courses which adds the value. See, these are minor distinction between these words. And some add-on courses earlier even the UGC used to sanction.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
And one final clarification from my own part. You have mentioned about the terminology data-driven A&A process and DVV clarification. So this DVV clarification, even though DVV clarification will be routed through the NAC, or only through the NAC, not directly to the institution, madam.
Through NAC. See, even the DVV partners have a portal. We will pop up the institution which is assigned to them, their data, their documents, everything will be visible to that particular partner, DVV partner. We have invited a tender, and through tender process, we have selected few DVV partners, and the SSRs will be allotted to them through a randomly selected process, what we call round robin. And the institution, the DVV partner may accept your institution or may not also, because depending on the conflict of interest. If any partner's employee is related to any of the institutions, they have to reject it as per the agreement. And if they accept the offer from the NAC, then this data of your institution will be visible to them, and they will verify it. And if required for the further, if they want any document or clarification, explanation, they seek clarification from you only through the portal, no other means. Everything should happen through the portal. All the stakeholders in this assessment and accreditation process will have their own portal. Like NAC official, I have my own portal. Whatever the SSRs are allotted to me will be visible to me. In the similar way, HEI has their own portal. DVV partners have their own portal. For appeal process, if it comes, appeal officer will have their own portal. All the stakeholders who are involved in this process will have the portal, including the standing committee members. They can also view the SSRs and the data, finalized data, and the scores obtained by the institution. Everything happens through the portal online.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Seena from Kannur.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question. Is it essential to upload each and every supporting documents related to qualitative metrics while filling the SSR? Or is it we can produce only at the time of DVV verification? Is it mandatory to update each and every documents related to QNM at the time of submitting SSR?
QNM, yes, but not QLM. Qualitative metric, it is not mandatory. But what happens if you upload it along with the metric or in the website and give the link, the peer team members will look at that well in advance. They will have the understanding of your institution better. Instead of when they come on site and if they ask, they may not have time to look at certain things. You may miss certain things showing them.
Okay.
So it is
Okay,
better if you give everything well in advance. Then they will come and clarify. If they don't understand or if they need further document, then they will take and verify it. And they will conclude certain things. They will have their own perception about your institution.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And we will conclude with any more doubt clarification. The last one, chance for a last question.
Yes, sir. We have a question in our chat box raised by Dr. Jyotishri. Shall I?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Ma'am, she wants to know about the qualitative and quantitative matrix. Could you please highlight it?
Yeah, qualitative metrics are those metrics which mainly the process metrics, where we cannot measure it through documents or just with the data template or anything. Those are the metrics which mainly on the process-oriented metrics. Quantitative metrics are those metrics which we can verify, validate, and assess through the documents which are measurable. To say the measurable aspects, we have put it in the quantitative metrics, and non-measurable things we have put it into the qualitative, which the peer team members will be evaluating with the interaction with the institution members, principal, and other stakeholders.
Madam, in some of the, you are giving a freedom for the institution. When we go through the manual, we can see that a freedom is given to the institution to opt out certain matrices. So that if that is not touched in the initial presentation, just spend 1 minute for that, please.
Yeah. The opt-out metric option is there for the institutions because we thought some of the metrics may not be relevant to a particular in a particular context of that institution or the location or the programs offered by them. So we have given opportunity for the institutions to opt out, which is not relevant to them. And now it is only 3% of the total value the institution can opt out, and in each key aspect or the criteria, it is only 10%. And we have given which are the metrics which you can opt out on the website. You can go through that, but teacher education and for university, this option is not there. And once you complete your SSR, you can, there is a button, you can click on that. The metrics which you can opt out will pop up and you can select depending on the calculations. You cannot exceed certain limits in particular criteria. 7th criteria, you cannot opt out. You cannot opt out 1st and 2nd criteria. Only you can opt out only in 3rd, 4th and 5th criteria and 6th criteria. And certain metrics are compulsory metrics.
If you mention one word regarding the special education institutions, and then especially focus the domain specific institutions like that of physical education, special schools, etc. If you add one sentence, that will be useful for many of the participants.
Yeah, for them, the entire manual is slightly different. It is in that teacher education manual, we have mainly multiple choice options. And in that, you should select whichever is applicable to your institution. And mainly we have asked about the report. It depends on the presentation skills of the teachers also to certain extent, I felt. And we felt, being the teacher education institutions and teacher educators, you will be well, you can well articulate and you can tell the process, what is happened, or process which are taking place in the institutions. And the focus is on the internship or the skill development of the teacher students. And here, no optional metrics.
And we have to come to the conclusion of the session since we have passed 12:30. Thank you very much for the wonderful session and the elaborate, patient listening and clarification. We'll go to the closing part of the session. Research wing, please.
Okay, sir. Now, I invite Dr. Jojo Johnson to deliver vote of thanks. Jojo, sir.
Thank you very much, Sujata Shanbag ma'am. Respected distinguished guest of the day, Sujata Shanbag ma'am, Dr. Benedict sir, esteemed participants. It was a great day, and we have learned a lot today. It's Aristotle who said, excellence is not an act, it's a habit. It's really important that our nation is giving credit to excellence and motivating everyone to be to aspire for excellence. Aristotle again repeated, excellence is your choice, and the key to excellence is a burning passion for excellence. Thank you, Sujata Shanbag ma'am, for igniting us today and for motivating us to aspire for excellence. Your analogy of egg was really touching, and an aspiration for excellence has to come from within, and we promise that we will commit ourselves as social engineers for the nation building exercises, and we'll focus on developing 21st century skills. And your presentation was excellent, and you have touched every part of it, and your running English, flowing English was really poetic, and you spoke with clarity, you were friendly, you were supportive, and you were very positive when we posed questions, and you were ready to give us clarifications, and you have encouraged us to aspire for quality. Thank you very much. Bharatiya Plus Training College, the research department, and the Insight in-depth team, and all the participants, mainly NAC coordinators this time, all the participants are really indebted to you for having spent your valuable time with us, for having ignited us a lot, and we owe you our applause and gratitude. Everyone, kindly give a thumb up to our respected ma'am in the chat box, please. Actually, this program becomes successful only because of the participants. Around 200 people attended the program, and this is being video recorded, and it will be available for the public and for the whole educational fraternity for perusal. And some of the participants have already requested for the videos so that they can hear the whole thing once again. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And all the participants, thank you very much. We are thankful to you for having spent your valuable time with us. Let us all commit ourselves to excellence and to the nation building process and for value inculcation. For the kind attention of all the participants, in this pandemic time, our college, Bharatiya Plus Training College, is extending an outstanding program every Friday from 2:30. It would go up to 4 o'clock, 2:30, 4 o'clock, 1.5 hours, 90 minutes program. And you can join this program every week on Friday. And the program is intended to build teachers and build the youth, and we are thinking of encouraging sharp research skills in our students too. Thank you very much, all the participants. I would like to thank Dr. Benedict sir, the key organizer of the program, and all the research scholars of Martha Training College who have meticulously planned everything, and all the participants once again. Thank you. God bless everyone. Thanks a lot. Let's commit ourselves to excellence.
Let me make an announcement before the closing of the program. Next Friday, 2:30, we will have another very innovative and challenging presentation by Professor Dr. Madhuri Dharangar, the head of the Department of Educational Technology, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai. We welcome every participant to be associated with the Insight in the program. The topic of presentation is the approach of the techniques of mixing of data in qualitative research.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your presence and participation for making this session a successful one. Google form link for e-certificate is posted in the chat box. Kindly fill the form so that we can provide you e-certificate. The program will be ended after the national anthem being played. Kindly stay with us. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Moving on to national anthem. Before moving on to national anthem, thank you everyone. If you want to join the Insight in-depth team, the link of the WhatsApp group is provided in the chat box. Kindly join the Insight in-depth WhatsApp group. The link is provided in the chat box. Thanks a lot. Wishing you a safe times. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.